Chapter 10, Radical Behaviorism, from the book Radical Behaviorism for ABA Practitioners by James M. Johnston. In this chapter about radical behaviorism, Skinner says that it is the philosophy of a science behavior, not the scientific philosophy, which is about how the behavior analyst views verbal behavior, which also includes their own verbal behavior. And they can totally explain all verbal behavior as a law of operant learning. Radical behaviorism is related to mentalism and is a set of relations between the organism and its environment. We can also say that radical behaviorism has to do with private events that are incorporated into the scientific agenda. There is evidence that mental events are proposed as explanations of behavior and cannot be directly assessed. Some related behavior is measured as indirect measurements, which represent mental phenomenon. The indirect measured behavior represents certain types of mental events, which can be called mentalistic. Scientists who directly observe private events, which is resolved by an operational analysis of the verbal behavior, they can either ignore the private events or invent a mentalistic representation. The private events or invent a mentalistic representation which can incorporate radical behaviorism. If we focus on the environment source, we take control over verbal behavior, which avoids mentalism. In 1913, Watson wrote a paper about behaviorism, about a behaviorist's views, which started the behavioral movement. Skinner avoided mentalism by not trying to say what a person wanted because we cannot get inside their head. Scientific method can be looked at as methodological behaviorism that comes from experimental practices, which allows the scientist to reason and draw conclusions about their findings. I found this chapter very hard to understand and to interpret. I just didn't really understand radical behaviorism, so it was a little difficult for me to try to summarize this in a way that I could understand, because I really wasn't able to understand this. I know this is a short video, but like I said, I did not really understand this chapter very well, so that is why I was not able to summarize it the right way.